What if one off-the-cuff remark destroyed one of television's most beloved shows? The Honeymooners wasn't just funny, it was real. But one night, a line was delivered with a darkness that changed everything. They tried to bury it. A mix of network, panic, sponsor pressure, and a live broadcast that went too far. Was it an accident? Or did Jackie Gleason reveal a side of Ralph Kramden nobody could handle? From pool halls to prime time, Gleason's climb wasn't Hollywood glitz. It was Brooklyn grit. Born in 1916, he grew up tough. His dad left early, leaving his mother to struggle. That scars you. For Gleason, it fueled ambition, frustration, the raw energy that became Ralph Kramden. He hustled, bounced, did whatever it took. The streets were his stage. Loud arguments, dreams bigger than bank accounts. These were the voices he brought to TV. When Ralph yelled, it was Brooklyn roaring back to life. His big break wasn't a sitcom, it was variety. Gleason had that magic. By the early 50s, he had his own show, Cavalcade of Stars. Then, Ralph Kramden arrived. Not the watered-down version we remember. Crude, impatient, always scheming. TV audiences used to perfect families found a man yelling in a tiny apartment, at a wife who yelled right back. That was electric. While others sold suburban dreams, the Honeymooners embraced the struggle. Ralph was a bus driver, not a homeowner. No tidy lawn, no perfect family. Just endless get-rich-quick schemes that blew up in his face. And audiences loved it. They saw themselves in Ralph's failures and small wins. And Ralph and Alice? Their relationship was authentic. Alice wasn't some smiling doormat. She fought back, challenged Ralph's bluster. It wasn't a fantasy, it was a kitchen argument come to life. Casting Alice wasn't easy. Audrey Meadows almost lost the part. Execs thought she was too glamorous, but Meadows knew better. She arrived for the next audition stripped of makeup, dressed plain. She looked like a working-class wife. Gleason knew. Alice wasn't always Meadows. Pert Kelton was first, sharper, more combative. Then, suddenly, health issues. The real reason? The Red Scare. Her husband's alleged communist ties made her too risky. Gone, no fanfare. Gleason's rise wasn't just laughs. Politics would change the Honeymooners in ways no one saw coming. The casting twist no one expected. The chemistry between Ralph and Alice made the Honeymooners tick. That chemistry started with Pert Kelton. She wasn't just a straight man. She had a sharp wit, a look that could deflate Ralph without a word. She gave the early episodes an edge. Kelton's. Exit shocked fans. Health reasons, the official line. A standard excuse in the 50s. But those on set knew the truth. The Red Scare was raging. Entertainment was a target. Studios blacklisted anyone even loosely linked to suspected communists. She was investigated. No charges, no proof. But in that climate, any whisper could ruin a career. CBS quietly pushed her out. Easier that way. Replacing her was tough. Alice couldn't be a pushover or the show lost its zing. Too tough. And it's just domestic strife, not comedy. The actress had to be long-suffering, but not a doormat. Audrey Meadows wasn't the obvious choice. Execs called her too glamorous. Meadows understood. She returned with new headshots. Plain dress, no makeup, hair pulled back. She looked like a Brooklyn wife stretching every dollar. Gleason saw them and knew. Meadows changed the chemistry. Kelton was loud, matching Ralph's energy. Meadows was grounded, her wit calm. Ralph's bluster seemed even bigger. Instead of yelling, she let his anger burn out, then hit him with a line that left him reeling. It changed the show's rhythm. Gleason's intensity balanced by quiet strength. Some missed Kelton's fire, but Meadows made Alice more relatable. The audience saw a couple that cared despite the fights. "Baby, you're the greatest," hit harder after Meadows' Alice endured Ralph's schemes. The political purge reshaped the cast, but the biggest change was yet to come when the show redefined television, breaking the sitcom mold. When the Honeymooners got its own show in '55, TV was different. Pristine living rooms, perfect families, moral lessons. Father knows best, leave it to Beaver, the idealized America. Clean lawns, good advice. Safe TV. Gleason didn't play safe. The Honeymooners tossed out the playbook. No polished houses. A cramped Brooklyn apartment with peeling wallpaper and a kitchen table as the battleground. No cute kids. Just Ralph and Alice, fighting dreams versus reality. The show's genius wasn't the setting, it was the honesty. Ralph wasn't wise. He was a bus driver with a temper and wild ideas. Alice wasn't demure. She was sharp-tongued and stubborn. They were flawed, relatable. They didn't look like TV commercials. They looked like the audience. The format was unique. Each episode a complete story. No need to follow some long arc. Tune in any week, you got it. And then a brilliant layer. To the moon, Alice, and baby, you're the greatest became instant catchphrases. Gleason treated each episode like a one-act play. Tight dialogue, fast pace, real stakes. Even small fights felt huge. No laugh track to sweeten the jokes. The audience laughed because it was genuinely funny. The tension, real. That authenticity was risky in the '50s, but it worked. By ditching TV idealism, the Honeymooners changed storytelling. Without it, maybe no All in the Family, Roseanne, The Simpsons. Ralph Cramden paved the way for Archie Bunker, The Connors, Homer Simpson. It made it okay for characters to be unlikable and human. The parallels were uncomfortable. Ralph and Alice yelled a lot. But beneath the sarcasm, there was warmth. Baby, you're the greatest wasn't just a line. It was a reminder that love can survive even the dumbest fights. That honesty gave the show staying power. The flip side? Breaking the mold was risky. If audiences sensed something too real, they might turn away. While the show was winning fans, one live moment turned the realism into controversy. The night the audience went silent. It happened on a night like any other. October 1956, the deciding vote. Standard Honeymooners stuff. Ralph convinced his vote can swing a local election, gets tangled in misunderstandings, humiliation. Clever script, relatable premise, ready audience. The episode went as planned. Gleason, larger than life, improvising, feeding off the crowd. Then, the moment. During a fight, Gleason delivered his trademark bang. Zoom! Straight to the moon! The audience had heard it a million times. A joke threat, a running gag. But this time, it wasn't a joke. Something shifted in the delivery. Gleason's tone was colder, sharper. He moved closer, shrinking Audrey, Meadows' space. His voice dropped, no exaggeration. The line landed with a thud. Silence. No laughs, no applause. Crew members froze backstage. Ralph Cramden didn't look lovable. He looked dangerous. Not like a sitcom shot in multiple takes with recorded laughter. This was live TV. Every twitch, every pause played out in real time. Domestic violence was taboo then, unseen on TV. That moment felt raw, disturbing. Critics who praised the show for its honesty called the scene too real. Letters poured into CBS, not with praise, but with concern. The network was already restless. Ratings dipped. Sponsors complained about the show's raspy tone. Live broadcasts were risky, Gleason unpredictable. The moon line always danced on the edge, fun or threat. This time it crossed. The audience didn't outright reject it, but doubt lingered. Was this really funny? Audrey Meadows reportedly voiced concerns about Ralph's anger before. Not afraid of Gleason, but aware how easily a moment could go wrong for an audience expecting harmless fun. That night, she was right. The line went from funny to eerie in seconds. In television, perception is everything. Nothing happened publicly, but the fallout was swift. CBS execs, sensing danger, held urgent meetings. A key sponsor threatened to pull out if the show didn't tone down. That settled it. No press release, no scandal. Just a quiet end to the original 39 episodes of The Honeymooners. Behind the scenes, tensions boiled. The show's end came faster than anyone thought. The abrupt end and private fallout. The end was sudden. No farewell episode, no warning to viewers. 1 week, The Honeymooners. The next, gone. To the public, a mystery. To Gleason and the studio, a decision driven by pressure, nerves, TV economics. For Gleason, the cancellation was personal. Ralph Kramden wasn't just a character. He was a part of him. Pulled from Brooklyn, shaped by struggle, brought to life on stage. Losing the show was losing that platform. Friends said he took it hard, like his life's work wasn't good enough. Officially, CBS kept quiet. No mention of tense meetings, sponsor complaints, the chilling effect of that too real moment in the deciding vote. But the writing was on the wall. Ratings dipped slightly, advertisers were wary, and Gleason was wearing down from producing a live comedy. Every week, no retakes, no safety net, no rest. Gleason pushed the cast through rehearsals, striving for perfection. But it was a grind. Every Friday night, 60 million people watched, ready to applaud or witness failure. Gleason loved the adrenaline, but it took its toll. He was known for late nights, drinking, a lifestyle that couldn't sustain such a grueling schedule. But Gleason wasn't ready to let Ralph and Alice go. He secretly bought back the rights from CBS, a smart move that gave him full control. For 20 years, he resurrected them in sketches on his variety shows. The chemistry was there, the laughs flowed, but the magic was different. The raw urgency of the original 39 episodes could never be recaptured. For Audrey Meadows, The Honeymooners' end was a turning point. She didn't do another sitcom. She went into business, becoming one of the first women on the board of a major bank. Her wit made Alice iconic, but her ambition proved she was formidable. Off-screen, Art Carney, the lovable Ed Norton, thrived. He went to film, won an Oscar in 1974 for Harry and Tonto. He stayed in touch with Gleason, but their careers rarely crossed. Carney was always Norton, but he wasn't trapped by the role. But Gleason wasn't done. He gambled on a second act in A New Setting, the Miami comeback that missed the mark. For Jackie Gleason, The Honeymooners never felt truly over. Ralph Kramden was still a part of him, and the chemistry was too strong to abandon. By the mid-60s, he saw a chance to bring them back, on his terms. Not a carbon copy, but part of the Jackie Gleason Show, filmed in sunny Miami. The move wasn't just scenery, it was creative freedom and money. Florida offered tax breaks, CBS gave Gleason full control. No more battling execs, no sponsor demands. In theory, he had everything to recreate the magic, no interference. But the Miami version was different. The format changed. The original episodes were tight, fast-paced, raw. In Miami, they stretched to an hour, sometimes longer. The pace slowed, scenes lingered. The quick domestic comedy became looser, more casual. The visuals changed, too. The gritty Brooklyn apartment became cleaner, brighter. Gone was the charm of Ralph and Alice in a small, worn space. Everything looked polished. Walls, costumes, lighting. The working-class reality was traded for TV gloss. The original cast returned. Gleason as Ralph, Meadows as Alice, Carney as Norton. But the chemistry was different. Years had passed. Gleason was older, heavier, slower. Ralph's explosive anger was rare. He opted for a calmer delivery. Norton was still lovable, but his banter with Gleason lost its snap. Even Meadows couldn't reignite the spark. There were moments of brilliance, a perfect exchange, a clever wink. But mostly the laughs felt thin. The longer runtime diluted the punchlines. The rapid-fire setup sagged with extended dialogue that didn't work. Part of the problem was losing the live element. The original Honeymooners lived before an audience. was unpredictable. The Miami version was taped, controlled, lacking spontaneity. The audience didn't lean forward in anticipation. More cosmetic than the original, it was different. Gleason tried new stories, music, guest stars, but those changes showed how far the show had drifted. The reunion episodes ran longer, but lacked heart. Without the focus on Ralph, Alice, and Norton's struggles, Miami never hit the same nerve. Even as the revival faded, the Honeymooners was finding a second life. Not on stage, but in the hearts of a new generation, from controversy to cultural icon. By the time the Miami revival faded, it seemed the Honeymooners would be a distant memory. The original run was short. Miami couldn't recapture the spark. New sitcoms dominated. But what happened next surprised even Gleason. The Honeymooners started its slow climb from a short show to a cultural monument. The transformation began quietly in reruns. Local stations picked up the episodes, filling daytime and late night slots with the Cramden's black and white arguments. Without ratings pressure, the show was rediscovered. Viewers who missed it the first time laughed along. Younger audiences met Ralph, Alice, and Norton for the first time. By the late 60s and early 70s, reruns turned those 39 episodes into something bigger. The qualities that once made the show risky, the working-class setting, the sharp fights, the flawed characters, felt fresh compared to polished sitcoms. What was controversial in 1955 was, by then, television charm. The infamous "bang zoom" line, once at the center of the show's most uncomfortable moment, became Americana. Quoted, parodied, referenced everywhere. Context had shifted. By the 70s, the line was less a threat, more an emblem of old-school humor, a relic from a time when sitcoms were stage plays. Critics analyzed the show, highlighting its role as a pathfinder, shaping character comedy. Ralph Cramden's ambition, Alice's toughness and compassion, Norton's wacky loyalty, all echoed in later TV characters. All in the Family, Roseanne, The Simpsons weren't unrelated. They were genetic descendants of the Honeymooners. Even animated. Couples like Fred and Wilma Flintstone had Cramden blood. The realities made it enduring. They didn't live in a fairy tale suburb. They had a tiny apartment. They didn't face tidy problems. They faced real-world problems. Lack of money, dreams dying, wanting more and having to make do. That realism, shocking in the 50s, became a hallmark of sitcoms in later decades. The Honeymooners became more than a show. It became a touchstone. Lines from the series became part of American slang. Aspiring comedians and actors studied episodes, drilling timing, delivery, character work. The cheap production, a couple of characters, and one set proved that a great TV show didn't need elaborate plots or expensive locations. It needed honest writing, sincere acting, emotional truthfulness. In 1985, on the show's 30th anniversary, there were retrospectives, interviews, celebrations. By then, The Honeymooners was recognized as one of the most important sitcoms ever. The controversy that once threatened to sink it became a footnote, an odd chapter in a series whose influence grew over time. The infamous scene that pulled The Honeymooners off the air wasn't just a mistake. It was a turning point for American television. If you enjoyed uncovering the truth behind this iconic show, like, share, and subscribe, and click the next video for more stories Hollywood tried to keep in the vault.